begin? Where to begin? Where to begin? I mean, there's so much going on in the world of Disney right now. I mean, they're in shambles right now. I mean, Snow White is absolutely. This might end up being one of the worst Disney movies, live action movies that they've ever done. And a lot of it is because of what they decided to do. And I've touched on this. I'm not really going to bang on that drum that I've been doing and I have been doing over the last few weeks. But I just want to talk about why this wokeism that they decided to really do with this movie and why it's angered and brought up a lot of controversy when it comes to fans and why a lot of fans are just digested and sick and tired of this, right? We've seen different Disney-like movies come to live action, told a different way, but we still ended up loving them. I remember watching Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, right? That movie that had Jeremy Renner. That movie was rated R. We knew that walking in. We knew that that director had decided to take a different take into a storybook story, right? A children's story, but he decided to take and tell a different side of it, and we ended up loving every bit of it. That movie is actually really good. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's really good. It's rated R though, but it's really good. I remember watching Maleficent. Maleficent, yes, it's rated PG-13. It's for children, but the way that story was told and the way that movie was shot, they also wanted adults to watch it because children cannot necessarily sustain the box office. You need adults to go see it too. So if you watch Maleficent, they made a lot of money because even adults went to see that, the way they told that story. If you watch Snow White and the Huntsman with Chris Hemsworth, Kristen Stewart, and Charlize Theron, right? That movie was outstanding. That movie was also PG-13. This is another Disney movie, but they decided to tell a different version of that story. They still kept the same story, but they made it more adult. They made it more attractive to adults to go watch it, and it did extremely well. I remember watching Brightburn. This is James Gunn who actually directed this movie, and this was a movie that basically told a story of what if a kid who came to Earth like Superman, had Superman's powers, but came from a world that was not a nice world. And this kid ended up becoming evil. And as a child, we saw that. This kid had all the powers of Superman, but it was evil. It kind of reminded me of Omen. It was kind of crazy. But it was rated R. But we knew going in that was what he was going to tell. But we ended up liking that movie, even though that movie was rated R. The reason why people are crazy about Snow White is because they decided to actually tell a remake of the original Disney animated movie. See, if you decide, because listen, directors take liberties, right? And they can actually explore the idea of telling a new, interesting version of a story. You can still keep certain elements that remind us of the story, but you can decide to tell a different story. They decided to actually do a remake of the original Disney animated movie. And you decide, well, Rachel Ziegler, you decide to tell us we're doing a remake of the same movie, but we're going to tell a different story. Snow White is going to be empowered. She does not need to be saved by a man. So all these things that really got their fan base riled up. You did not need to do that. You guys did not need to listen. If you're doing a remake of a movie, a Disney animated movie, keep the same story. Keep it the same. And I'm telling you, right now, it would have been the best movie out there in the world. But you decided to tell a different story. You decided to add ideologies and biases and whatever is into this movie, and you are getting the results that, listen, you cannot blame the fan base for not going to watch a horrible movie. I mean, the reviews are in, the box office numbers tell you people are not going to watch this movie just because you decided to do a remake and chose to ignore and chose to do your version of a remake. And I have no idea why Disney allowed this, because from the moment they decided to do this movie, and then from the moment Rachel Ziegler decided to open her mouth and say what she said, it was all downhill from there. Listen, I am a huge fan of movies. I love movies. I love watching remakes. I love watching. But if you do not respect the content, you don't respect the fan base. Because people, imagine like they did a Lion King movie, right? Was it last year or the year before? You remember the one thing the fan base said? You better keep the main thing the main thing. And then they decided to tell a different version. They decided to tell what? Mufasa. And that movie was really good. But they still kept the story aligned to the real movie, to the real content. Because trust me, if they had not, yeah, you'd have heard about it. So when you decide to do what you're doing with Snow White, don't be surprised when your fans say this is garbage. You guys decide to do a live action remake, but you decide to use CGI dwarves, even though they're dwarf or little people actors that you actually got in the beginning and decided to switch them with CGI. And you wonder why those actors now are suing Disney. You wonder why people don't want to watch this movie? I think this is the last time I'll talk about this when it comes to this particular movie, because I'm disappointed. And Disney, you have no one else to blame but yourself. I mean, the fan base right now and moving forward, I'm telling you, if you keep doing what you're doing, because what do they say? That insanity is the definition, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. See, once you lose your fan base, because you're basically teetering, you're teetering right there. You can lose your fan base, and it'll trickle down to your Disney Plus subscribers, because a lot of them, trust me, when it gets to that point where it's not just hate, you're disillusioned, your fans are going to leave you. And trust me, it is harder now because there's so much content out here. It is so easy to lose your fan base. So easy. And trust me, there is always something else out there just waiting. I remember when, a lot of you who were younger don't necessarily remember Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, where we used to wait for Fridays to go get these movies at a movie store, right? It was so cool. Blockbuster. They took Netflix for granted, right? When Netflix started, they used to have these little vending machines where you could either go get a movie or they could send it to you via mail. That's how Netflix started. Netflix decided to talk to Blockbuster. Blockbuster decided, yeah, we're not taking you seriously. I mean, movies have been there forever. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. They didn't take Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't take Netflix seriously. And what happened? The moment Netflix, I'm talking about the moment Netflix started streaming, over. It was over. Blockbuster. It was that quick. Trust me, Disney. There are companies like Amazon. I'm telling you, Netflix. There are companies that are making animated movies for kids and also making live action remakes like they're doing right now with He-Man. You're going to lose your fan base, and I'm telling you, when you do, it's going to trickle down. Your stock prices are going to start going down. People going to Disney parks because parents are not going to take kids. Why am I spending $5,000 or $10,000 to take my kids, and my kids are not even consuming this content? I'm not consuming this content. I'm telling you. And Disney is so big, and Disney, you've extended yourself so much. You've bought Marvel, and this is trickling down to Marvel too. There's so much you're doing, and anyway. This is just one of the biggest wake up calls for Disney. And if you do not, moving forward, if you don't listen, if you're going to make remakes of movies, keep them the same. Tell the same story. Do not add ideas or ideologies or biases or whatever. I don't care. I do not care. Don't do it. If you're trying to still make money, and you can say, yes, listen, there's nothing wrong with telling different. I remember with Spider Man, right? Spider Man Into the Multiverse, right? The animated movie. Miles Morales, who happens to be black and Hispanic, right? Do you know how that movie did so well? Because they told an interesting story, a really cool story from the comics. And they still introduced Peter Parker, right? And Peter Parker became Miles Morales' mentor. Like this, people fell in love with this story, and people can't get enough of that. This is still a Spider-Man story that had Gwen Stacy as a Spider-Man too, but they told such a good story. It wasn't weird. They didn't go against what was in the comic books, but they just told a really, really nice story that fans gravitated to and really understood, loved, appreciated. And it told because the first movie made over $800 million. That's an animated movie. So don't come here and say people don't like it because it was her or this is her ethnicity. No. As long as you keep the story and you tell a good story and you still maintain that source material, people will watch the movie. People will appreciate the content. But when you decide to deviate and decide, you know what, we're going to woke it up and, we're going to tell it like this, then that means you don't care about your bottom line. And your bottom line right now is hurting. And I don't feel bad for y'all. I really don't. Because I'm telling you, this has been 2 years. It's been coming. And everything that they're going through right now, they knew. Unless they're just stupid. But anyway, that's what's going on in Disney, at Disney, with Disney, about Disney. I don't even care anymore. Anyway, I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.